Hello and welcome back to part 6 of my Earthbound Living Player's Guide and Let's Play. In this section, not a lot of story occurs, but a lot of stuff does happen. So if you want to, go ahead and level up Jeff if you want. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and head south and face off against the first boss of this section of the guide, the Boogie Tent. So, without further ado, let's get started. Lastly, before we get too far into anything, if you need to call Escargot Express to take any items like the pack of gum and the broken key machine, go ahead and call them now. Just make sure you have the $18 to cover the pickup fee. The Boogie Tent isn't particularly hard, just hit him with your strongest PSI spells and have Jeff shoot bottle rockets at it. The guidebook itself barely even mentions this boss, and it really is a cakewalk. Once you beat him, be sure to open up the trash can that it leaves behind. The item inside is a key item that is needed to save Threed. I recommend giving it to Ness for safekeeping, but be sure you keep it in your inventory for now. And with the Boogie Tent out of the way, we can go ahead and go north again, and we're just going to kind of wander around town until we get a phone call from Apple Kid. Once he calls you, he'll give you the instructions on what to do next. Now that we have the zombie paper, the only thing we need to do is head into the tent and use it. So, as I do in the video, go inside the tent, find the item in your inventory, and just use. Then, you can go ahead and go to the hotel, heal up, and while you're doing that, a cutscene will play. You might have noticed that during that cutscene, the zombies guarding the graveyard have wandered off. So we can go ahead and go that way and we'll continue with the adventure. But how about we go see what the zombies think about the unfortunate predicament that has befallen them? Before we continue, be sure to get some bottle rockets, a few vials of serum in case you get poisoned, and any health restoring items you may need before we continue. The next part can be tricky if you get some bad RNG, as a lot of enemies can spawn and they can be a real drain on your resources. I actually did die during this segment. My best advice is to bash often with Ness and Jeff, and use PSI fire on the zombie enemies. But be sure to save some of your PSI for the next boss that we fight at the end of the underground path. This footage is from my first attempt. As you can see, I was a little bit careless going through the path. Jeff and Paula were both in bad shape for this battle, but I did make it through. The slimy little pile isn't too tough if you have your PSI. Hit him with your strongest spells and use PK Fire to deal lots of damage. We're almost at the next town. Hang in there. Help is coming. We are nearly at the next town. There are still enemies around, so be on your guard. Most of the enemies here are still weak against PK Fire, but the plain crocodiles are weak against PK Freeze, so keep your eyes open for a cave on the right side, because that is going to be our next stop. This is Saturn Valley. You might recognize these guys from Super Smash Bros., but this was their second appearance. Anyway, you can rest up here and heal for free if you need to. Talk to the Saturn that's living in a trash can and he'll revive any lost party members you may have. And talk to the one with the teacups and he'll act as the inn. You can also get new equipment for your team. I went ahead and upgraded all my armor, but I kept the baseball bat and the frying pan for Ness and Paula respectively, because they have a higher chance of hitting. So I decided to stick with those instead of switching to slingshots. If you have the money, go ahead and get a Horn of Life as well. It can revive down party members and you might need it in the next dungeon. And I think that is where we will end it for today. Next week we will face off against Master Belch and save the town of Threed and the Mr. Saturns. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next game.